Hi guys. So I actually have a little bit of an update. I had to pretty quickly and kind of unexpectedly evacuate my apartment, and it has not been fun, especially in the middle of medical school. And I had exams, or I guess I had one exam that I took this morning, and then I've been moving pretty much most of the end of last week and this weekend. So having to balance studying and moving was so incredibly difficult. And honestly, my surroundings look so rough. But I am moving out of my apartment that was close to school. And I'm actually moving into my brother's place, which is a little bit further away from school and all of that. But it was time. So just to kind of take a few steps back, I did an apartment tour of, the apartment that I had all throughout the first year of medical school. And I mentioned how much I liked my apartment, and I mentioned also that I was going to stay there for second year. And then basically towards the end of last year, literally 20 minutes before one of my exams, and we take a lot of our exams, actually all of our exams, from home, but we have a camera, or you can use your phone or your iPad or something, and you are on Zoom, so people are watching you, and you're taking your exam. So it's proctored and all of that, but you do take it from home. And it's like a relic of the COVID environment and all of that. So I was taking it, I was setting up and everything, and it was, I want to say 8:30 in the morning. My exam was going to start at 9. And as I was sitting there reviewing, I see out of the corner of my eye, a mouse just goes running past my floor. And I lived in a studio, so kind of it's really hard to miss, right? It's all one big room, and you just see something out of the corner of your eye, something big just scurrying across the floor. And I freaked out. It was not a good time. And I also just felt worried that I had a very visceral reaction to mice and rodents and things like that, especially in your home, especially in a studio apartment. I can't just be oh, it's in another room. It was literally right there, right next to me, as I was about to start my exam. And so that happened. And there was basically a lot of back and forth with my landlord and everything about, fixing the hole that they were coming from and all of that. But it just nothing seemed to work. We plastered one of the holes behind the stove, and I still had them come in. I literally I feel I did everything. I bought those steel wool stuff, and I would shove them into every tight space that I could find, and yeah, it just was I couldn't, when that happened during my exam, I couldn't just stay in my apartment and take it, because I was what if it runs again? And my constant, I'm distracted. I'm thinking about whether it's gonna run across me or across my stuff and all of that. And they were also coming from the kitchen, so there's also that hygiene aspect to it that I just was not a fan of. And I did, you guys, I tried to deal with it all summer and beginning of this year. I was okay, we'll cover up all the holes and it'll be fine. We covered up all the holes. It wasn't fine. They were still coming. I also talked to other people in the building, and everyone was yeah, I have mice in my apartment as well. So it wasn't just a my unit issue. It was a building-wide issue. And then after a while, I was okay, I think I have put everything that I can to fixing up any hole whatsoever that I can find. And then I realized I saw another one, essentially, or I didn't see it. What happened was I still had some mouse traps out, because I was I'm not fool me once, but not again. And so I had them out, regardless of I was I've done everything, but I had them out. And then I noticed last week that I would wake up and the peanut butter that I put in the traps was all licked up and eaten, but the trap hadn't been activated. So they were I could tell that they were pretty small. And I was I couldn't figure out where they were coming from. And finally I figured it out. I think they were coming from my dishwasher. The water pipe, essentially, for the dishwasher is where they were coming from. And I was holy shit, that was not good. And so even when I had my dishwasher closed, I was fine, I'll never use the dishwasher again. I closed it, and all of that. And I still, I literally caught another one, this past weekend as I was moving out. So long story short, my entire building was very, very infested, and my landlord was like decent, but I just feel like she wasn't like willing to kind of do more to handle the issue. And also it's a building wide issue, so it's, you know, I guess kind of out of one single person's control. But yeah, and then there were like a few other things. I mentioned how my car got towed in my own parking lot, even though it wasn't my fault that I parked kind of in like the wrong spot, but I didn't think like in my own parking lot my car would get towed. Like I thought they would just like leave a note or something, or like that's what I would have done. But again, that's kind of more on me, so I'm willing to completely accept responsibility for it. And then also like my packages got stolen. Literally, like they just got stolen, like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. Could not find it. So I feel like it was like all kind of piling up one on top of the other. And honestly, like I can deal with all of the other stuff. I was like, fine, I don't have to order things here. I can get like a different place to order my stuff. You know, my brother's place, my parents' place, it is relatively close by. I don't, like that's fine. Willing to work with it. It was honestly the mice issue. I realized I would get so scared. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night, I like hearing any kind of noise, and I would just get so freaked out, and then I won't be able to fall asleep. And then I had like a terrible day the next day because I wasn't getting enough sleep and I still had to deal with school. So I don't know, part of me is like I could have just kind of roughed it out and continued to fix it, and maybe at a certain point I would have fixed enough of the holes or whatever where I think like mice were coming from. But I was also like, I'm starting to study for my board exams, and I just don't know if it was worth all of the hassle that it was causing me to like to continue living there. Like I just don't know if it was worth it. And my family is very, very amazing and supportive, and my brother's place is relatively close by, and so he was gracious enough to give me a room in his house. And so this is kind of where I'm going to be until I find a different place that makes sense. Or until I take my board exam, my like step 1 exam, in a few months. But yeah, so I just kind of thought I would give an update as to where I've been and what I've been up to. It's been a lot of moving and not effective moving. I'm trying to use all my body parts to like cover the mess in the background. But yeah, it hasn't been the funnest because it's like I don't do well with my things being all over the place. Like I need everything straightened up, put away like right away. And so I don't have everything here to like, you know, like dressers and all of that stuff to like put stuff in. But slowly but surely it's all going to come together. I know it is. I just have to like, I think it's like a skill, right? You work on where it's like, you can't, life doesn't stop because one aspect of your life is like all over the place. You kind of have to continue moving forward, and you have to continue, like you have to compartmentalize. So I can't stop school. I'm not going to stop school just because I'm moving and like my living stuff is like a little bit, you know, messy and all of that. Or like stop studying or like take, you know, time off or whatever. Because none of that's going to stop. So it's a good life skill that I feel like I'm learning. So I'm appreciative of that. But it has been a little bit stressful. But I'm hoping by this week I clear out of my old apartment and I can fully like get super settled into this house. So yeah, that's my little update for you. Also, just like as an aside, I'm so glad you guys liked my last vlog. I've gotten quite a few messages about it and all of that. So really, really happy that you liked that video. And yeah, I'm gonna continue doing a week in my life, day in my life, and any kind of like advice, med school related video or life video, all of it. YouTube is not going to stop either. That's actually like, it's like a huge passion project for me, and I like refuse to let that part of my life go. It's just been a little bit harder to kind of get in the groove over here because I had a good system kind of at my own old place. But I think we all adjust, and I know I'm definitely going to adjust. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, thank you for joining me on this little update and kind of explaining what's been going on.